top tips for inspiring and motivating your teams. Today, I'm joined by Heidi Shackell, who is boss lady of the Lettings Hub. In Peterborough, over 140 team members. What's your top tips? Talk to me.
Okay, well, so many. Our people, and in any business actually in our industry, are a massive asset, huge important part. So I'm going to start by talking about the really little things. So actually really understanding what motivates people. Time of the year where it's sports day, end of term stuff for mums, dads, whoever it might be. So making sure they understand that it's absolutely fine to attend all of those things, you know, and actually, bizarrely, for some of our, this is very stereotypical, for some of our younger people, it's letting them have, you know, their nail appointment, you know, because actually they can't get one and, you know, they want to go out on the weekend and everything else. So really understanding what are the important drivers for people and just making it possible. If you can be flexible, they will be flexible back. The second kind of thing is to give, you know, just give some things that you can get fairly easily, not necessarily costing you loads of money, but it makes a difference to people. So we run Snack Station where people have got access to food, drink, whenever they want it. People don't take the mickey and it doesn't cost a fortune. Letting people control how many holidays they want in a year. So
they have unlimited holiday.
Yeah, they do, but it affects their pay. So they get given a certain number of holiday days in a year, that's fine. And then they can choose whether they buy more. We do it unlimited, unless there is business reason why we have to cut it off. We've only cut it off once and we've been running it for 5 years. So if they want to buy...
Can they sell it?
They can, but only they have to have a minimum of 21 days off, plus bank holidays. If they get more than that, because lots of our staff will, because they get extra days for as long as they've been there, but they have to keep a minimum of 21. But they do. Never, ever had anyone sell it, though, in 5 years. They only buy. So how we do it is, let's say they wanted to buy 12 extra days in a year. Basically, you just take 1 extra day's pay off them every month for the year. And they don't really notice it, in all honesty, but they've got all of that, or access to all of that extra time. A lot of the time, they're buying an extra week. A lot of the time, you know, sometimes they'll try and buy 20 days because actually, you know, I think of one person in our team, he's doing a renovation project on his house. He can do it cheaper than buying somebody else in. So that's what he's chosen to do. So that has allowed all of our people to choose money or time, I suppose, as a win. And actually, we have about 40% of our people that buy a holiday in a year. So that tells me that time's really important to people.
What sort of retainment rate do you have at the Lettings Hub?
Depends on the level of role, but and overall it's pretty good, in all honesty. But in terms of anyone that buys holiday, it's really good. Because actually they're choosing that. So I think since we've ran the scheme, we've only had one person that's bought into the scheme that's left within that year, where we then have had to kind of pro rata pay. So
the younger generation has a certain classification that they're pain in the backsides and they're difficult to manage. By the very nature of the role of referencing, it's going to attract members of the younger generation in their 20s.
Yeah, it does.
What tips would you give to anyone watching this?
I think the younger generation are very impatient. They're very used to getting things now. You know, if they want a car, they go get it on finance. If they want a mobile phone, they can get the very best one now and they'll pay it off over 2 years. So actually, as an employer, you've got to kind of think like that, as in kind of give them a path so that they understand where they're on it. And actually, sometimes their level of impatience or what they want and where we want, you know, where we are as a business just don't match. And actually, that is the right time to say goodbye. We have to make that job easy to train, you know, broken down into sections if we have that kind of situation. But we also have to kind of show them, you know, when I first started out, I was starting out thinking, right, I'm going to save for a deposit for a house. That generation, that just is alien to them. They just can't see that right now. So you've got to paint a different picture. You've got to get onto their page and their wavelength of, well, what is it then that they really aspire to have or want or do? And then try and match that. We run, I did it just last Friday, quarterly awards where we get the whole company together. We close our phone lines just half an hour early and then they stay behind. And we celebrate all the best people within the business. They love it. Like, you know when it's awards day just by what they wear. It's like they're literally, going to hit the town straight afterwards because it's a social thing and they love it, and they get, a bottle of beer or a glass of gin and tonic, a can of gin and tonic, whatever. And they sit there and they have a really good time. So, we run bingo, we run, it's National Freezer Pop Day today. So guess what? They've all got freezer pops. It was Biscuit Day a couple of weeks ago, Gingerbread Day last week. We run Boom Day every month, where everybody tries to compete against themselves and against the other teams to be the best they possibly can be. That creates, our level of absence on that day is pretty much none, because it's different. If you're coming in, I don't just think it's the younger generation. I think if you're coming in and doing the same job every single day, it makes it easy to not want to do that sometimes. So you have to make every day not the same.
You say that the people in their 20s think and act differently, and a lot of that has come from the fact of the way their parents brought them up. Do you find that you're having to almost backfill the sort of things that their parents should have taught them?
Oh, totally. Yeah, they lack resilience. That's one thing for me with my children. They're obviously younger, the oldest being 12.
I bet you let them out of the farm door and come back 8 hours later.
Yeah. And, they have a life which is mainly outside, and, my kids, they're all into ponies. We've got these ponies that don't behave at all. So, they're on the floor half the time and riding them the next. And they lose more than they win with ponies. That's kind of the game. And the reason for that, even my husband, who's, not a massive horse fan, will say, I wouldn't change it because it's teaching them so much. I think, unfortunately, that has not been the case. So we do have to teach them resilience. We do have to teach them patience. We do have to teach them, I still am probably very old fashioned, if that's the thing, where if you work hard, you'll get rewarded. You don't get rewarded and then work hard. It doesn't work like that. And I also have no problem saying goodbye to the people in our business that do think like that.
So it's about creating a great culture led by you and the team, creating differences with fun competitions and avocado on toasts. And
yeah,
do love avocado on toast, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
With a bit of chili on, very nice. But in all seriousness, just being different, but also realising that they haven't been brought up necessarily particularly well because they got a medal for coming 7th.
Yeah,
we have to realise that we have to adult them up.
Yeah, we do, and that
because that must be having 140 people, which fundamentally it's not a call centre, but it is a. You must be employing, I don't know, how many new people do you have to bring on a year? 20?
Well, we're growing, so yeah, probably 20, 25 in a year.
Probably half of those are going to be
probably about 30% might turn over, and then you're going to bring kind of the next people in as well. And not only that, we do try to promote from within if we can. So if ever we're growing, there's an opportunity, we'll try and move people up, and so therefore you're constantly kind of backfilling. So there's lots of movement, even if it isn't kind of exiting. But yeah, the little things make a massive difference. You've got to be different as an employer. They will go home and they will talk to their friends about how was their day. I always say if one of our employees is in the pub of an evening and they say, how was your day? And they go, oh, I don't want to talk about it. We've got it wrong. We want to say, oh, do you know what? Actually, today was a bit tough, but,
Fantastic. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.